Welcome back. Previously, we were discussing about profitability ratio. There are two subheading under profitability ratio. First one is profitability ratios, the same heading itself, and second category is overall profitability ratio. And we have discussed about the concept and meaning and applicability of both the headings and the various ratios that comes under both the headings. Let's deal with some of the cases relating to profitability ratios as well as overall profitability ratios. Today we will directly concentrate mainly on overall profitability ratios. Next case. You are given the following balance sheet and additional information relating to DX Limited. You are given a balance sheet, liabilities, amount, assets amount. Just go through the items and familiarize the nature of each and every item given in the statements. And then the question additional information is operating profit is 10,44,000, interest on investment 2,50,000, non-operating expenses in the bracket it is given interest, maybe it may be interest on debentures or maybe interest on bank loan. In most cases here the interest given is usually the interest on debentures. It is 3 lakhs, and just go through the amount here. Debentures is 3,000, 3 lakh, 30 lakhs, and 10% debentures means 3 lakh. Okay, it's correct. Corporate tax rate is 40%, means tax usual tax rate. You are required to find return on total assets, return on capital employed, return on shareholders funds, and earning per share. Okay, all these comes under overall profitability ratios. These ratios are generally prepared by internal users, that is shareholders or management or top level management that are concerned with the returns on their investment. Okay, here it is. First one is return on total assets. So the equation is return on total assets is earnings before interest and tax, otherwise known as operating profit, divided by total assets minus outside investments into 100. This is another equation for finding out the return on total asset. Just note this equation. And in the question, operating profit is, or otherwise known as earning before interest and tax, is already given. Sometimes may not be given, so you need to find the operating profit. As I hope you remember the questions or cases which we have dealt in the previous classes where you need to find operating profit. Okay, here operating profit is already given and divided by total assets minus outside liabilities. Total assets is the total amount on the asset side of the balance sheet, and you need to deduct the outside investments. Outside investment I have discussed in detail regarding what is meant by outside investment, and in the question the assets includes land and building, plant and machinery, investment and current assets. Here investments will be the outside investment. So you need to deduct the same amount from the total assets. So earnings before interest and tax is already given in the additional information, divided by total assets is also given minus outside investments. You will get 12%. So first part is over. Next one, return on capital employed. Equation is earnings before interest and tax divided by net capital employed into 100. And here numerator earnings before interest and tax or operating profit, which is already given in the question. And next part is net capital employed. This part is quite tricky because we know there are some equations regarding to find or extract the amount of capital employed. Capital employed may be gross capital employed or net capital employed. See, the net capital employed equation is total assets minus non-business assets plus current liabilities. That is, you need to deduct non-business assets and current liabilities from total assets. And we all know the amount of total assets, 11 lakh 1200. sorry, here the amount, you have to make sure that here the top of the statement is given that dash 3 zeros. It means for all amounts there is an extra of 3 zeros. So instead of writing convenience, they have just deducted 3 zeros. So while computation, you need to add these 3 zero along with the main numbers given in the question. Okay. Here total assets is 11 lakh to 11 200, and non-business assets is investments, that is outside investments, and current liabilities, here already given current liability. So you will get total assets minus non-business assets plus current liabilities, you will get 80 lakhs. And now substitute the same in the equation, you will get return on capital employed is earnings before interest and tax, which is already given in the question, divided by 80 lakhs, you will get 13.05%. Okay. Next one, you need to find return on shareholders funds. The equation for return on shareholders fund is net profit after tax divided by shareholders fund. In the question, there is no information regarding net profit. Here there is only balance sheet along with some additional information. In all these details, there is no information regarding net profit, but net profit can be computed from the details given in the question. Because net profit can be computed by using net profit before tax can be computed by the using equation earnings before interest and tax plus non-operating expenses minus non-operating income minus non-operating expenses. I hope you all are familiar with this part of the equation, because we have dealt the same situation in the previous questions, where you will be finding the value of operating profit as well as net profit by adjusting non-operating expenses as well as non-operating income. So use the same equation here. Earnings before interest and tax is already given in the question, and regarding non-operating income and non-operating expenses, both items are already given in the question. See here, interest on investment is a non-operating income, as well as non-operating expenses include 3 lakhs. So just take the two amounts, so you will get the value of net profit. So substituting the same in the equation, you will get 9,94,000 as net profit before tax, and in the equation the numerator is net profit after tax, and we have computed the net profit before tax. Next, you need to make necessary adjustment in the net profit before tax, because in the equation you need net profit after tax, and just previous slide we have computed net profit before tax. Remember, while dealing with this type of question, make sure to deduct the tax in order to get the net profit after tax. During examination as well as test paper situations, usually most of the students do a careless mistake that they will definitely find the value of net profit before tax, but they will never deduct the tax percentage, because in the equation you need net profit after tax. Here we are computing only net profit before tax. You need to deduct tax in order to get the amount which can be substituted in the equation. So net profit after tax means net profit after deducting tax. Quite easy. So now you have got net profit before tax is 9,94,000. So you need to deduct net profit minus tax. And usually in the question the amount of tax may be given, or sometimes it will be the rate. So here in this question the corporate tax rate is 40%. So usually tax is paid on income earned. Here net profit is 9,94,000. So just take the 40% of 9,94,000, you will get the tax amount. So by deducting the tax amount, you will get the net profit after tax is 5,93,400. Now you can substitute the same amount in the equation, and we now got the numerator part. Now you need to find the denominator part, that is shareholders fund. I hope you all are remember the shareholders fund equation. We have been dealing with the same part again and again in the previous classes. Shareholders funds include equity share capital plus preference share capital plus reserves and surplus and plus or minus profits or loss. That was the equation. For the time being, in this question there is only details regarding equity share capital and reserves and surplus, so that's why I am using those two items alone. Equity share capital is already given in the balance sheet, that is 5,000. Reserves and surplus 2,500, and there is no other information regarding anything, so just add both two items, you will get 75 lakhs. And next, substitute the both amounts in the equation. Return on shareholders fund is net profit after tax divided by shareholders fund into 100. Net profit after tax has been already computed, 5,96,400 divided by 75 lakhs, you will get 7.9%. And finally, earnings per share, otherwise known as EPS. The equation for finding the value of EPS is net profit after tax or earnings after tax or EAT divided by number of equity shares. In some cases, the equation they use number of equity shares outstanding. Actually, the concept is the number of equity shares existing in the concern. The net profit after tax is already computed in the previous case, 5,96,400 divided by number of equity shareholders. Just go through the question. Here equity share capital is 5 lakh shares of rupees 10 is, so the number of equity shares is 5 lakhs. Remember to take the sum wisely, because only the number of equity shares should be taken. So 5,96,400 divided by 5 lakhs, you will get 1.19 per share. So each shareholder will get a rupees of 1.19 for the earnings earned by the concern. So this is how you need to solve a application level case regarding to find the ratio of overall profitability of the concern. It depends upon the nature of the question, maybe overall profitability or profitability of the concern. So just go through the various cases or equations and familiarize all the items given in the question. Never ever alone depend upon the questions which we are discussing now. You need to go through some other questions and try to understand different cases and examples relating to the same aspect. Then only you will be able to deal with all the types of cases that you might deal during university exams or internal tests. So just go through it. That's all for today. And remember, after completing all these, give a brief interpretation on the basis of your analysis. Sometimes in the question they may ask to prepare an interpretation, sometimes they won't, but it is our duty to present an interpretation after the analysis, or once your problem is done, prepare an interpretation. Don't forget to leave an interpretation after the answer. Okay, that's all for today. We will deal with the further cases in the coming session.